Hola, bienvenidos amigos y amigas. Welcome back to one more episode of Mexico Relocation Guide. I am your friend and host, Mariana, and today I have a true gem of a town nestled in the heart of the state of Jalisco. Welcome to Tlaquepaque. In this video, you'll learn some of the most important things such as weather, cost of living, amenities, services, transportation, and the town's overall vibe. So join me on this ride around one of the most iconic cities in Jalisco. Let's get right into it. Now, its official name is San Pedro Tlaquepaque. The locals call it Tlaque for short. This city is part of the greater metropolitan area of Guadalajara, and it's the third most populated municipality in the state of Jalisco. The town is mostly flat. There are a few elevation differences, but most of the town sits on a large and wide valley, which makes it an excellent option for those who enjoy walking everywhere. For many people, Tlaquepaque is considered one of the most pleasant weathers in the whole country. Daytime temperatures average in the mid-70s and evenings in the low 50s. However, April and May tend to be the hottest and driest months of the year. And while mornings and evenings are still cool and pleasant, the afternoon sun can sometimes be too much. Temperatures, for example, can reach the low 90s during the day with sunny skies, so it's also recommended to use sunscreen. The rainy season starts in June, and this is when the weather cools down, the trees and flowers blossom, and turn into a beautiful lush green. However, be aware that sometimes heavy rains occur and major roads and neighborhoods in the city tend to get flooded. Now, the cool season is from November to March, and winters are very mild. To give you an idea, temperatures range from 47 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 degrees Celsius, to 77 degrees Fahrenheit, or around 25 degrees Celsius. Sometimes a cold front can make it colder, but nothing that you need to worry about. It's definitely not unbearable. And even though it is rare, this area can be prone to some earthquakes. Because of its rich history and unique cultural traditions, Tlaquepaque was named a Pueblo Mágico in 2018. Now, as a result, the town has become a very touristic hotspot, especially during the weekends when flocks of city dwellers from Guadalajara come for a quick getaway from the urban stress. This is also a desired destination for artists and collectors because it has an impressive variety of art galleries, workshops, boutiques, showrooms, and the like. Tlaquepaque is a major producer and exporter of pottery and ceramics, which is certainly worth buying if you're in town. Now, you may be wondering, what's it like to actually live here? Less of the touristic stuff and more of like, what can I expect on a day-to-day basis? Well, we already mentioned that it's a laid-back town. You get a nice, strong sense of community and a more traditional family-oriented feeling, regardless of the numerous tourists that come to town each weekend. And even though it gets a fair amount of tourism, you won't find many foreigners in town, which also means it'll be harder to find bilingual people in local stores or markets since most of the tourism is domestic. So this is a perfect place for you to practice your Español. Now, Tapatíos, which is a name given to people from Jalisco, are really amongst the friendliest and most accommodating in Mexico. They tend to be outgoing, friendly, and always try to make a conversation. So it's without having to say that living in Tlaquepaque, you can expect a warm community, and they'll certainly appreciate your efforts if you try to adapt. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, where am I going to live? So we're going to focus in and around the Centro area because that is where most people have expressed a desire to live. If you look at the map, it would be the area just north of the Calzada Lázaro Cárdenas, which is one of the main roads in the whole metro area. This also borders Guadalajara's municipality, so you're very well connected with regards to public transportation, retail services, and those kinds of things. For practical purposes, let's call this area, which is made up of several colonias, or neighborhoods, Tlaquepaque Centro. The greatest perk of living in this area is the proximity to everything. You're close to all types of stores, such as local markets, supermarkets, and other day-to-day stops like restaurants, coffee shops, art galleries, boutiques, the light rail station, bus stops, pharmacies, clinics, and everything else you need to live comfortably and have everything within a good distance. Now, there are some cons of living in the central areas of not only Tlaquepaque, but any town in Mexico, and that is that the downtown is usually the touristic destination of that city. So the closer you're to the historic downtown, the noisier it gets. If you don't want to deal with the noise and tourists, we suggest looking for housing at least 8 blocks away from the city center. In these surrounding neighborhoods, you'll live in a less busy area of the centro, but still very well connected to all of Tlaquepaque. You'll also see schools, daycares, and parks. Now, the neighbors tend to know each other and be on the lookout for outsiders or disturbances, making it one of the safest areas of this town. The usual layout in these neighborhoods is small streets with houses on each side of the road. Sometimes you'll see apartment buildings, especially on corners, and occasionally you'll come across smaller gated communities known as cotos or privadas. One of these side street houses with 3 bedrooms, a patio, and your own private garage will rent for 13,000 to 15,000 pesos a month. That's around 760 to about $880 a month. Apartment complexes and other gated communities offer other amenities such as 24/7 security. Some of them have big green spaces for you to invite your friends over or have your pets out, gyms, they have pools, or some of them even have co-working spaces. A 2-bedroom apartment without amenities normally rents for 9 to 10,000 pesos a month, which is around 530 to about $580 a month. Whereas a nice condo or a townhome in a gated community with nice amenities will cost around 12,000 to 14,000 pesos a month. That's around 700 to about $825 a month. Now, all prices in US dollars can vary depending on the exchange rate, so please keep that in mind. Another thing you have to bear in mind is that these are average estimates. Of course, you may find higher and lower rental prices in the examples that we're giving you here. It all depends on the type of lifestyle you're looking for. I'm trying to give you a good idea of a fair market price when renting in Tlaquepaque. We also think the neighborhoods of Atlas, Lomas del Paradero, La Paz, Jardines de la Paz are worth mentioning. These are officially part of Guadalajara, but border Tlaquepaque. The amenities, the vibe, rent prices in these neighborhoods I just mentioned are pretty much the same as in the downtown area of Tlaquepaque. However, utility costs may differ since it's a different municipality. Now, if you want to live in the suburbs or the outskirts of the city, you'll likely find lower costs for housing. Of course, in exchange, you'll be further away from all amenities, stores, those kinds of things. But honestly, we believe that living near Centro is the best option, especially if this is your first time in Mexico. You have to consider the connectivity to other parts of the city, the accessibility to services, products, and hey, I'm all about convenience. Now, if you want to purchase a house, we recommend getting an idea of what the market is like on sites such as inmuebles24.com. Don't worry, I'm going to include a link in the description. I've seen nice looking homes going for 2 million pesos, which is around 120,000 US dollars, and up to 20 million pesos or more, which just to give you an idea is more than $1 million US dollars. So you see, there isn't a good average. It all depends on the size of the home, its location, its finishes, and everything in between. To really understand what the rental or the real estate market is for Tlaquepaque, Guadalajara, Zapopan, or any of these surrounding areas, we really do recommend working with a local realtor. If you need a recommendation, check out our link in the comment section of this video. Okay, now let's get into utilities. So the following averages for cost of utilities are based on a 2-person household. The first one we're going to cover is your wastewater bill, which is paid monthly. This will average 400 to 500 pesos a month. That's about 24 to 30 US dollars. Now, before we get into the next topic, recently there have been droughts throughout the entire country, and Tlaquepaque is definitely no exception. So you should be mindful of your consumption habits. We suggest following some guidelines that can help you save water and money and contribute less to shortages. If you want our tips on water saving practices, check out our link in the description. Your electricity should be very affordable because you won't need an air conditioner in Tlaquepaque. You might need a fan every now and then, but this won't affect your bill considerably. Now, electricity is paid every 2 months, and for a 2-person household, we estimate around 300 to 500 pesos, which is about 18 to 30 US dollars. Even with regular cooking and a water heater, your monthly gas expense probably won't be more than 300 to 400 pesos a month, which is around 18 to 24 US dollars. It's very affordable. Now, in looking for places to live, you should ask your landlord what kind of gas tank they have to fill and which company they recommend. You can have a cilindro, which is a tall gas tank that is switched every time you order gas, or estacionario, which is a fixed tank that the gas company refills on a schedule. Now, for those of you working from home or interested on internet, you'll be happy to know that high-speed internet is widely available. The high speed that you can get is usually 1 gigabyte speed with fiber optic. Now, depending on the company you hire, the package would most likely cost around 1,500 to 1,800 pesos a month. That's around $88 to about $105 a month. Now, if you only need it for streaming and downloading a few things, and you don't need a lot of speed, you can get a 100 megabyte speed package for somewhere around 550 to 650 pesos a month. That's about half. For groceries, you have a couple of options for everyday products. My first recommendation is always to check out the local markets. Shopping at local mercados is not only a way to find lower prices and fresh produce, but you'll buy directly from local producers. It's a great way to immerse yourself in the local culture. Here are some of the mercados that we recommend. You have Benito Juárez Market, Las Huertas Market, Rancho Blanco Market, Lomas Market, Colonia Atlas Market, just to mention a few. There are several other markets throughout the city, but these are the ones closest to Centro. However, we understand that there may be things on your grocery list that you just can't get at these markets, or there's not a one-stop shop for everything, especially if you're trying to find imported, gluten-free, or organic products. To find imported products, your best bet would be to go to a big box supermarket such as Walmart, Sam's, or Costco. You also have Mexican supermarket chains like Chedraui and Soriana, although their imported product selection is more limited. But you're in Mexico now, so remember to get out of your comfort zone and try out the local brands. Most of the time they taste exactly the same as the imported ones, and they cost a lot less. Now, if you crave specific foods from back home, there is a place in town called La Casita that only sells imported products and brands. Many expats go here when they crave snacks or ingredients from back home. Just remember, it will be significantly more expensive because of import taxes. If you're looking for organic, sugar-free, gluten-free, or specialized diet products, this can be a little bit trickier. Not all the time, but you'll see that most of the local markets, you'll be able to find fruits and vegetables with little to no pesticides. But we wouldn't go as far as to say that the produce is 100% organic. In fact, it's not. Now, you could also go and order online from Fresco, which is a grocery store chain throughout Guadalajara. You can order through Uber Eats and have some great organic produce delivered to your home. So what happens if you get sick? Well, there's a great small local hospital called Hospital Diagnosis. It is small but great for emergencies. They have a small operating room, and we have received good feedback from customers who have been attended there. Now keep in mind that they most likely will not speak English. So come prepared with a Spanish-speaking friend or know some keywords. For more specialized treatments, we really recommend Guadalajara, which has some of the best hospitals in all of Mexico and where English-speaking doctors are far more common. The overall cost of healthcare in Mexico also seems to be way more affordable than the US, of course, with a few exceptions. Most medical services and medicines are far more affordable here, based on our research and the feedback that we get on an ongoing basis from our audience or people like you. Now, to give you an idea, a routine checkup will cost you 50 to 60 pesos. That's about $3 to $3.50 USD without insurance. I mean, this is out of pocket. If you need medication, you can get it directly at the pharmacy for very low prices and usually without needing a prescription. You can also find good dental care, dermatologists, and mental health, also homeopathic clinics in town. So really, there's no shortage of medical services. It all depends on your specific condition. If you've been following Mexico Relocation Guide, you know we recommend walking a lot, which will definitely contribute to your overall health and having to visit the doctor less often. But I also understand that sometimes that won't be possible given the distances, the heat, or just personal preference. However, we feel one of the reasons you may love Tlaquepaque, and Guadalajara for that matter, is its walkability. If you stay within the neighborhoods we mentioned, you can run most of your errands by walking from one place to the next. Or, if you're up to it, you can choose to ride a bike, which is a very popular form of transportation here. You also have a few public transportation options. You have 3 light rail stations in town, which are fairly accessible, and many bus routes connect most of the urban area. You also have taxis, Didi, and Uber, which are ride-sharing apps. The city's newest and largest bus station is 20 minutes from downtown Tlaquepaque, and there's a light rail station just outside. Now, to get to Tlaquepaque, you have to fly to the Guadalajara International Airport, which is 15 minutes away without traffic. This airport has connecting and direct flights to various destinations worldwide, and also connecting you throughout Mexico. Now, don't expect this to be a party town by any means. Living here means adapting to a slower pace of life, occasionally going to Guadalajara for things like nightlife, concerts, events, theaters, museums, and those kinds of things. And then coming back home to enjoy the more laid-back vibe for your everyday life. In any case, there's no denying the beauty and great feeling and great energy that Tlaquepaque has. It's really, really beautiful. And people really love that about it. It has not only great architecture, but, it's just very clean and a gorgeous pueblo mágico. Interesting street vendors selling souvenirs, trinkets, and of course, mouth-watering food. In fact, Jalisco's gastronomy is diverse and delicious, and in Tlaquepaque, you have some of the best regional restaurants. You'll be able to find great birria, carne en su jugo, tortas ahogadas, tejuino, jericayas, just to mention a few things. We also recommend trying out a cantarito if you don't mind having an alcoholic drink. This is served in a classic clay jug with lots of ice, tequila, lime, orange juice, and soda. It's very refreshing. Now, if you're a huge nature lover, there are several parks scattered throughout Guadalajara. If you want a good hike and you don't mind traveling, head north to Bosque Colomos in Providencia, which is the north side of Guadalajara. We also need to mention the Bosque de la Primavera, a large protected wood reservation serving as a green lung to the whole metro area. Here, you'll find great hiking trails, rivers, camping areas, and bike routes. Now, just because we said Tlaquepaque isn't a party town, doesn't mean it's boring by any means. In fact, it has all the basic amenities you would need for everyday life. You have, like I mentioned, picturesque architecture, good weather, great food, walkable areas, grocery stores, medical centers, pharmacies, a movie theater, and you're neighboring one of Mexico's largest cities, where you can find more things like, of course, concerts, events, theaters, art galleries, museums, and so much more. Tlaquepaque has so much to offer and is more than just a cute little pueblo mágico. It is now part of the second largest metropolis in Mexico, and what truly amazes me is how, despite that, it has remained true to its roots and preserved that identity that makes this big city just one of a kind. It feels like a small town. So if you're considering Tlaquepaque as your next home, we encourage you to come and live it. Nothing will ever beat the real life experience, and no one can ever experience it quite like you will. Come and walk the streets, eat the food, breathe the air, and immerse yourself in its lifestyle and culture. Try to spend at least 1 month in town and evaluate if it's the right place for you. You'll get a good grasp of how living in this part of Mexico could actually be for you. For now, I would love to know your thoughts. What other cities are you interested to know more about in Mexico? Leave me a comment below. Well, that's it for us in this journey on Tlaquepaque, amigos y amigas. This is certainly not goodbye. This is just an hasta luego. See you later. Adios.